And he said unto them, Go ye into all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature. Mark 16th chapter and the 15th verse. Good morning. Today we will hear from some of our members of Bethel's mission ministry who recently traveled to Liberia, Africa. Liberia has a population of around 5 million and covers an area of 43,000 square miles. English is the official language. During the years of 2006 to 2018, Liberia was one of the countries with a female leader. Today, the leader is George Vale. But enough from me. Let's send it over to Adriana and Anthony, who are meeting with the mission team to get the inside story on the Liberia Mission Trip 2023.
I'm Reverend George Allen Graham, missionary to Liberia.
My name is Ella Flanoy.
I'm Monica Wingate.
Hello, I'm Alfreda Kinsey.
Hello, I'm Deborah Harden.
Who or what started the Liberia mission?
I started my mission work in Liberia in 1974.
Okay.
This particular mission was started in 2012 when God led me to do something for the people after they went through a period of 14 years of civil war. And that war destroyed everything. So following the calling of God, the Bond Hill Lighthouse mission was started, in Liberia. The mission itself is to restore the basic life services in Liberia. And the mission is working in 5 major ministry areas. These are education, medical, agriculture, Christian growth and development, and building construction. And along with building construction, we want to include entrepreneurism, because the people need to learn how to become self-sustaining. And in Liberia, the employment rate is almost non-existent.
Can you explain how the Liberia mission was introduced?
Okay, now I guess you are referring to the group that came over recently. Of course, in that group was my sister, Ella Flanoy. And of course, when the mission started back in 2012, I was here at home. And actually, I really founded the mission right in my own home. I had come home from Liberia for my usual furlough. I usually come after about 2.5 years. I come home for like 6 months for rest and to, have fellowship with those who, give to the work. And before coming home, in fact, in 2019, a group had come over, and I was supposed to come back with that group. And for some reason, I missed the flight. And it was during that time that God spoke to me about this new mission, the Bond Hill Lighthouse mission. And I had no idea how to even, start the mission. It's something that I had not done myself, because in the years previous, I had been working with other mission groups. But this time, God is saying, it's your time. And so I was invited up to where the mission is established, to a town called Bondstown. It's in another county from where I was living, in Bond County. And it was there that the people asked me about helping them to start a mission in the area, because the needs were so many. And I told them, that I felt like God wanted me to help them, but I had no idea how to do it. Someone had sent me a flyer about a workshop that was being done in Atlanta, Georgia. And my sister and her husband drove me there. And during that time is when I learned how to start a mission. And I was told that I can do it right online. So when I came back to St. Petersburg from Atlanta, I founded a mission right in my own home. There was it was an online type thing, so I was able to get on and do all that I needed to do to form the mission. And I sent the information back to Liberia, and when I returned in May of that year, the mission was already, in place, ready to go. So that's basically how it got started. But then, before I left to go back, I had asked certain people, to work along with me, which included my sister Ella, my sister B and her husband, and Miss Carol Alexander. Some of these you met and have already interviewed today. And so they agreed. And when I went back to Liberia, I sent them the documents showing that the mission was officially formed and was part of the, Liberian government. They gave us permission to do it. And then from those documents, they were able to create a 501c3 that gave them permission to raise funds to be able to help us with the mission work. And from there, people have become interested. Twice now, they've come over to see the work and to see how they can become a part of it. So I guess that answers your question. How did they, get to come? They came to see the work and to be able to work along with me in Liberia.
Yes. What was the daily routine?
Well, the daily routine started very early because there are no clocks. There is no alarm clocks. The roosters are really what gets you up. So as soon as the sun comes out, the majority of the people are already up entertaining their first shift of the day.
In terms of the routine of those who were there, we actually served in 2 different areas.
Right.
And so we got to see the morning routine of the area that was, I call village, but the term that was used many times was the bush. And so it was where we served, where there wasn't any electricity and there wasn't, any of the things that we are used to in terms of running water and those kinds of things. And like Cameron said, the villagers, the community members would be up early. And many times, like you said, the rooster, we hear it and we know somebody's going to be coming knocking on our door asking us if we want a bucket of water or not so we could take our bath.
The daily routine was we would get up and they generally had breakfast ready, which consists of eggs, that was awesome, coffee, and potatoes, or was it rice or something?
Potatoes.
Potatoes, and it was really, really good. And then we would go out and maybe go for a hike or mingle with the village people.
We had different missions that we had to go on. Mm-hmm. We had different assignments that we had at the school where we missionary worked with the kids. Mm-hmm. Some of us had assignments to do Bible studies. Some of us had assignments to do music. And some of us had assignments to do art. So we each had jobs to do to cater to the children.
The ministry that I worked with was with the medical ministry, where we served the people in the community during the time we were here. We were there. We were able to help 26 people with their medical needs.
I worked in agriculture, and I put myself into the shoes of one of the women that actually worked the field, and her daily routine is a very, very difficult routine. She would get up early in the morning. There is no running water. There is no sanitation. So she would do her best to take care of her business and prepare herself to go to the fields. I use wet wipes as part of my morning routine process. Once I got to the village, I walked to the field. The walk to the field is a very, very long walk. And once you get to the field, the work to be done to the field is extremely difficult, backbreaking. It's very hard work. And then at the end of the day, to walk back to the village, the walk is just as long, just as hard, and it's a very, very, very hard lifestyle.
What did you learn about poverty and injustice?
What I learned is that my idea of poverty for the United States is totally different than what I actually saw in Africa. What I saw in Africa doesn't come close to the poverty in the United States. They have such a lack of, and when I say lack of, I mean lack of water, lack of food, lack of clothing, lack of housing, lack of electricity, lack of basic needs, just lack of. The poverty there exceeded anything that I could possibly even think of.
How can you continue to support the ongoing work in the area where you have served?
From my experience over there, my eyes were opened up to kingdom building. It is an everlasting kingdom, so I believe first off by sending proper literature to the people so they have an opportunity to get the instructions that we have received over here by the Holy Spirit in the States to continue to guide them in self-sufficiency over there in their land. And I also believe a little financial backing.
For certainly financial resources. But one of the purposes of the trip was to really go and find out how, what the needs of the people were, and the ways that we would be able to help them to be successful in establishing self-sufficiency, all of those things that whether it's education, whether it's medical, whether it's agriculture or building and construction, whatever those areas are, certainly all under the umbrella of Christian growth and development. So our fact finding allowed us to figure out or to find out what specific needs there were in education. As an example, there are children who are only able to go to school if someone gives money for their tuition. It's not free school like it is here. For tuition and registration, uniforms, all of those things that they might need. And so a person here that is really concerned about education, that's one way that they can give and support in that fashion. Provide scholarships for students. So there are a variety of ways because of the fact-finding that we did while we were there, listening and hearing the people and what their needs were, and us coming back, being able to be responsive and really share that. Like I said, whether it's medical, that's an area that we worked in, building and construction, agriculture, we can share those needs, and where people's hearts are moved, then they can give, they can do fundraisers like you're talking about to help support, so that we can then follow up and help those who really are doing all that they can do and just need financial resources, which we may have here. More so, certainly, than what we experienced when we were in Liberia.
Tell us about the people you met. What did you learn about the people you served?
The people that we met, the people that we served were very kind, loving, humble people. The people are very aware that they are poor, but they're very proud people. And they truly, truly love America as well as Africa.
You've been to Liberia before. Did you serve the same community, or did you minister in different communities on each trip?
Yes, we each time we did visit several communities. The first time my visit to Liberia was in a different county. It was during a conference, and the other two times were on the mission field, where we there with the people and serve with them.
What did you learn about poverty and injustice?
For me, poverty, in my mind, I thought poverty was people lacking and not having. What I learned is that my idea of poverty for the United States is totally different than what I actually saw in Africa. What I saw in Africa doesn't come close to the poverty in the United States. They have such a lack of, and when I say lack of, I mean lack of water, lack of food, lack of clothing, lack of housing, lack of electricity, lack of basic needs, just lack of. The poverty there exceeded anything that I could possibly even think of. It was truly, there's a difference. There's a difference. And so for me, understanding and respecting the fact that their poverty exceeds what I know to be poverty. However, they're such a proud, honorable, gracious, grateful group of people, such a really wonderful community of people.
Myself, I learned about poverty that I should be grateful and thankful for everything I have here. It made me appreciate the world because they, to me, have nothing, but they so joyful of everything. They don't take things for granted, like food. They may have to travel miles and miles just to get food. Education, miles and miles they travel. Exactly. So they really appreciate what they have there. Poverty, to me, is very high, a lacking of everything. Clean water, education. So I think poverty was very low compared to what we take for granted every day.
Yeah, exactly. Even a simple thing is just having a glass of ice water, and just snacks. You go to your kitchen and you get a snack. What we had was, they said whatever they killed that day, that's what's going to be dinner. And basically, it was dinner, and we ate it. It was good. So we learned to just adjust to what we had and be appreciative of what we had. And it really changed you in the fact that what I consume in a day, I really don't need in a day, and then realize that how grateful I am.
How did the mission trip impact your faith and prayer life?
Well, I just shared a little bit about how the trip impacted me, particularly as it relates to a pure religion.
Pure.
But in terms of impacting my faith and prayer life, I think that it was because of my faith and prayer life that I even wanted to go and do mission, willing to count and pay the cost to do it. And then it was strengthened by my trip on the mission field. So my faith was strengthened as I saw how God works, how he provides, how he will use this imperfect person, but he would use me and others, not just me, but to build his kingdom, to share the gospel and the truth. I had a chance to teach while I was there in the school, which we didn't talk much about the school, but there is a mission school there in Bontown where there are 194 students. Those are the ones that we're talking about, some needing the tuition and the registration fees and all of that. And those students, though, whenever we came, they would stand and say, "Good morning, visitor. Welcome. We're glad you're here." And I had a chance to teach those students. They didn't quite always understand, but they speak English. But we I say they had an accent, but really I was the one with the with the accent. But being able to share in that way, and then also teach in the Bible conference, all of those things were encouraging and strengthening. And and the responses that we got from those who we shared with, it was just a faith builder. It really was a faith builder. And then also more to pray for. So it increased my desire to pray because I had something more to pray for. As those folks prayed for me, I'm still in communication with a number of those people.
Yes.
By we do Facebook. I mean, not Facebook. What do you call it? Messenger in Facebook. And so they're still praying for me and for us and for the team. So that, just that joint prayer, the corporate and the strengthening of us praying for one another was an important aspect of the trip and what came out of it in terms of building my faith and my prayer life.